Welcome to day 7 of the Intuitive Eating series, where we talk all about the 10 principles of an intuitive eating approach to health and well-being. My name is Kate, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist and owner of Kate Regan Nutrition, a virtual private practice based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Today, we're talking about principle number 7, cope with your emotions without using food. This is going to be really helpful for you if you feel like you struggle with emotional eating or you rely on food solely for emotional reasons rather than physical reasons. I want you to think about something. When you were a kid, were you ever bribed or rewarded with food? This is where we start to form those emotional connections with food. And maybe that's not the case for you. Maybe you started to form an emotional connection with food a little bit later on in life, where you started to realize that it's an effective coping mechanism for you. And the thing is that food is a really accessible coping mechanism because it's easily available and it works. The thing is, though, it's usually just a Band-Aid. It might feel really good in the moment, but it's not a long-term solution for managing and regulating emotions. And there's a whole spectrum of reasons why people rely on food for emotional purposes, all the way from pleasure to self-punishment. There's a lot of things in between and a lot of triggers that can cause emotional eating, things like stress, frustration, loneliness. You are seeking a source of connection or you're looking to numb. Bribery. All of these things can trigger emotional eating. And again, I want to emphasize that it's okay to use food as a coping mechanism because it's very accessible and effective. Short term. In the process of intuitive eating, we really work on expanding your toolbox of coping mechanisms to include food and recognize that it's okay to use food without guilt, but also adding other things into that toolbox that are more effective at regulating emotions. Things like meditation, journaling, connecting socially with people, movement, self-care techniques. All of these things can really add to you taking care of yourself and managing emotions without having that first instinct to turn to food. And last time, I want to emphasize, it is okay to use food as comfort, as long as it's not the only coping mechanism that you have. So, activity for you to do this week. I want you to think of 3 coping mechanisms that you can add to your toolbox. And next time you feel the urge to eat emotionally, and you take a step back and you realize, okay, I'm not physically hungry, so this must be something emotional. I want you to try to use one of those coping mechanisms for at least 10 to 15 minutes and see if that urge is still there. This is called surfing the urge. I want you to try this out and see how it works for you. And hopefully you'll recognize that other coping mechanisms are more effective for you, but also food is still an option.